Claire Henson left the county courthouse at 55 with a manila envelope, a borrowed pen in her coat pocket, and $118,642 of debt the judge called a joint obligation. Her ex-husband, Martin, did not come outside. He let his attorney do that. The attorney had us a silver tie clip shaped like a trout and shoes too clean for the sleet gathering at the courthouse steps. He handed Claire a thin copy of the final decree and said the old motel should give her some sense of ownership. Claire held the envelope against her chest. The paper inside was still warm from the copier. Martin kept the lake house. Martin kept Henson Restoration, the construction company he had built with invoices Claire used to type at the kitchen table after dinner. Martin kept the new truck, the payroll accounts, the hunting cabin, and the framed photograph from Branson where he and Claire were both sunburned and smiling, like people who had not yet learned how expensive trust could be. Claire kept a 2003 Buick LeSabre with one's missing hubcap, 3 storage tubs, and the Blue Lantern Motor Lodge. 14 rooms, 1 dead neon sign, a cracked swimming pool, closed since 2012. June Bell had once told Claire that a motel remembered things people were too tired to say out loud. Claire had been 16 then, sitting behind the Blue Lantern desk, drawing flowers on a receipt pad while June sorted envelopes by room number. She had not asked what that meant. Martin was waiting outside in his blue Camaro with 1 black door, tapping the horn like the world owed him timing. Now, 39 years later, Claire could not remember the flowers. She remembered the envelopes. Martin had laughed when the motel appeared in the settlement list. "You always wanted something of your own," he said. Claire had not answered. She had been looking at the debt schedule, at the odd amounts stacked beneath her name: $18,400, $27,915, $6,200. A signature here, initials there. Notes from accounts she barely remembered, because Martin had always placed the papers in front of her after supper, right when the dishwasher was humming and her eyes were tired. Just routine, he used to say. There had been a time when Claire caught numbers before Martin did. In the early years, she kept Henson Restoration's invoices in a yellow binder with metal rings that never closed right, and she knew which customers paid late, which suppliers rounded up, which receipt had been folded into a shirt pocket and washed clean. Once in 1998, she found a $430 lumber charge billed twice. Martin had kissed the top of her head and said, "Good eye." By 2006, the binder lived in his truck. By 2013, he brought papers to the kitchen, already clipped open to the signature line. If Claire asked a question, he stared at the microwave clock until she stopped asking. "Just routine," he would say. So she signed beside coffee rings, beside grocery lists, beside the quiet place where her own judgment used to sit. Outside the courthouse, a brown Christmas wreath still hung on the door in February. 1 plastic berry had fallen off and lay flattened on the wet concrete. Claire stepped around it. Subscribe for more stories about women who find what others tried to bury. Her daughter Emily called before Claire reached the Buick. "Mom," Emily said, "come stay with us tonight." Claire balanced the phone against her shoulder and tried to unlock the car. The lock stuck in cold weather. It always needed the key turned backward first, as if the car had been built by someone with a private grudge. "I'm fine." "You're not fine." A pickup rolled past. Its tires hissed in the slush. Claire looked across the parking lot and saw Martin's attorney getting into a black SUV. In the back window there was a child's soccer sticker, but no child seat. "I have to see the motel," Claire said. "That place is mold with a sign." "Probably." "Mom." Claire opened the Buick door. The inside smelled like old coffee and the peppermint gum she kept in the ashtray because the ashtray wouldn't stay closed. "I'll call you when I get there." Emily did not answer right away. Then she said, "Did Dad say anything?" Claire looked at the courthouse doors. No. She put the envelope on the passenger seat and drove 5 hours south, through towns where gas stations had become vape shops, where churches had hand-lettered signs about fish fries, where billboards promised injury settlements and miracle roofing. The Blue Lantern sat off the old highway, half a mile from the newer interstate exit. Most drivers passed it without seeing it, a low row of rooms, peeling blue doors. A little office with a shingled roof that sagged in the middle. The old sign stood near the road, and only the word blue still lit when dusk came down. Not lantern, just blue. Claire parked beneath the broken awning. Rain tapped the Buick roof, soft at first, then harder. Somewhere inside the office, water dripped into something metal. She had the key from the estate folder. It was on a plastic tag that said pool in faded red letters, though it opened the front door. The office smelled of dust, mildew, mouse droppings, and something sweet gone bad. Air freshener from a decade ago, maybe. The carpet squished near the desk. Behind the counter hung 14 room keys on brass hooks. Room 9 still had a green rabbit's foot on it, bald from being rubbed. Room 12 had no key at all. The bell on the counter was dented flat on one side. But when Claire pressed it, it gave one bright note that startled her. She stood there, with her wet coat dripping on the carpet. On the wall, a calendar from 2011 showed June, even though it was February. A little square around the 17th had the words "Call Roy," written in purple marker. Someone had taped a church potluck flyer beside it. The potluck was for 2009. Claire laughed once, not because anything was funny. The sound disappeared into the dark hallway behind the desk. She found the breaker box after 20 minutes, behind a mop closet that smelled like rust and bleach. Only 3 switches worked. The office light came on yellow and weak. The vacancy sign in the window flickered twice, then gave up. The rain got heavier. Claire set the courthouse envelope on the counter and went looking for a bucket. In the supply closet, she found a dented paint can, 2 towels hardened by age, and a box of Motel postcards. The postcards showed the Blue Lantern in 1978, all clean white walls and shining pool water. Someone had written on the top card in blue ink, "Best cable TV on Route 76. The motel had never had cable. She put the paint can under the leak. Water hit metal with a slow ping. Then the desk drawer groaned. Not opened. Groaned. Claire looked at it. The drawer below the old guest register shelf was swollen shut. Its brass handle had gone dark green around the screws. She pulled once. Nothing. Pulled again. The whole desk shifted, and something scraped behind the drawer. She found a screwdriver in the cash drawer beside 3 Canadian pennies and a receipt for windshield wiper blades from 1994. The receipt was made out to June Ball, not June Bell. Claire worked the screwdriver into the side of the drawer. Wood split. The drawer opened 2 inches. Inside was a blue ledger, a tobacco tin, an old notary stamp, and a white envelope gone soft at the edges. On the envelope, written in her Aunt June's square, careful hand, were the words, "For Claire if she ever comes back tired enough to look." Claire opened it before she could talk herself out of it. The flap tore wrong, taking part of June's handwriting with it. Inside were 2 folded papers, a motel postcard, and a small brass key taped to an index card. The card said, "Pool office, don't throw away the wrong key." Claire frowned. The key on her ring already said so, and that one had opened the front door. She unfolded the first page. "Dear Claire, this place kept what women could not carry." The office light buzzed once overhead, then it went out. Claire sat in the dark with the letter open on her knees. Rain ticked into the paint can. Outside, the dead sign gave 1 weak blue pulse and quit. She could not read the rest. She found the blue ledger by touch because it was heavier than it looked. On the cover, in gold letters almost rubbed away, 1987. The first pages looked ordinary. Date, name, address, room, rate, cash or card. Then the entries changed. March 12. Room 3, no charge. Blue towel. April 6. Room 8, paid by JB. No forwarding address. April 9, room 11. Sheriff came twice. Do not answer after dark. May 2. Clean copy made. Key held. Claire turned another page. October 14. Martin Henson. Witnessed papers. June said keep copy. Claire's hand stayed on the page. The rain kept tapping the roof. Paint can kept pinging. A truck went by on the old road, slowing near the sign, then moving on. Martin's name was younger on that page. The handwriting was not his, but the signature beside it was. Tall M hard slash through the T, the same impatient little hook at the end. Claire had seen that hook on checks, mortgage papers, birthday cards he signed after she bought them. She closed the ledger. Then she opened it again. The tobacco tin held keys, folded receipts, and a Polaroid of Aunt June standing in front of room 3 in a blue cardigan. June had one hand on her hip. Beside her stood a woman Claire did not recognize, holding a baby wrapped in a yellow towel. The baby's face was blurred from motion. On the back, June had written, Susan and Matthew, 1987. No address. Claire sat on the office stool. The vinyl cracked under her. She did not open the envelope yet. Instead, she picked up the old notary stamp and pressed it gently against her palm. It left dust, not ink. June Bell, Notary Public. The letters were backward on Claire's skin. By midnight, the office had gone cold enough that Claire could see her breath when she stood near the window. She found an old space heater in the back room, but its cord had been chewed through. She slept in the Buick with her coat over her knees and the ledger on the passenger seat, beneath the manila envelope from court. At 6:13 the next morning, somebody knocked on the driver's window. Claire jerked awake and hit the horn with her elbow. The horn blared across the empty motel court. An older woman stepped back, both hands up. She wore a red rainbonnet, though the sky had cleared. Under one arm, she carried a grocery sack with a loaf of white bread sticking out. Claire rolled down the window. Cold air rushed in, smelling like wet leaves and gasoline from somewhere far away. "Lord," the woman said, "you sleep like your aunt." Claire blinked at her. "I'm Lottie Mae," the woman said. "I cleaned rooms here." Claire opened the car door and nearly dropped the ledger. Lottie Mae saw it. The woman's mouth changed. Not a smile. Not fear, something smaller. "You found the book." Claire looked down at it. "What is it?" Lottie Mae did not answer. She looked toward room 3 instead, where the blue paint had peeled in long strips. "I brought bread," she said. "It's too soft. My grandson buys the wrong kind." Inside the office, Lottie set the bread on the counter and took off her rainbonnet. Her hair was silver and pinned with 2 black clips, one of them shaped like a butterfly. The butterfly was missing a wing. She did not touch the ledger until Claire pushed it toward her. Lottie opened to March. "Blue towel," Claire said. Lottie kept her eyes on the page. "Mean don't put the room on the board." "What board?" "The one the sheriff could see." Claire looked at the key hooks. There was a board? "Used to hang by the coffee machine." Claire waited. Lottie turned a page. Her finger stopped at lamp out. That meant no calls to the room. If a husband called, June said the lamp was out. Phone line 2. Whatever she needed to say. The office light hummed overhead. Claire could hear a crow outside on the sign, scratching metal with its feet. "These were women?" Claire asked. "Mostly running?" "Sometimes just thinking about it." Lottie turned to the entry marked "Clean copy made." "That was the big thing," she said. "What test papers?" Claire looked at the old copier in the corner. It was the size of a washing machine. Someone had taped a Garfield sticker to the lid. Garfield was wearing sunglasses and saying, "1989 is mine." It was 1987 in the book. Birth certificates, Lottie said. Car titles. Bank cards. Protection orders when they could get one. Some women got out with their purse and nothing else. June said you can't start over if the only proof you exist is in his glove box. Claire looked at the courthouse envelope on the counter. The debt schedule inside seemed to grow heavier without moving. Lottie kept reading. She did not ask Claire about Martin. She did not ask about the divorce. After a while, she took the loaf of bread out of the sack and placed it beside the bell. "Too soft for toast," she said. Claire returned to Aunt June's envelope that afternoon. She waited until Lottie had gone and the office had warmed a little in the pale sunlight. The rain had left little brown rivers across the cracked parking lot. Room 6 had a curtain hanging outside the window like a tongue. The torn flap lay crooked from the night before. The brass key was still taped to the index card, beside June's warning not to throw away the wrong one. Under the letter were 2 photocopied documents and a motel postcard with a blue lantern drawn over the printed sign in black marker. "Dear Claire, if you found this, you came back after the building got ugly enough that nobody could pretend it was worth fighting over." June's handwriting leaned left. Head. Every word looked like it had been pressed into the paper rather than written on top of it. This place was never much for tourists. The pool cracked every April. The ice machine hated Sundays. Room 5 had that smell no man could find and every woman noticed. Claire looked up toward room 5. June had continued. But it had a door that locked, a phone that worked, and someone at the desk who believed her before anyone else did. Claire lowered the letter. A car passed out on the road, fast enough to throw water into the gravel. She read on. I made the trust in October of 1987 because I watched too many men turn women's names into empty spaces. The blue lantern goes to a bellwoman. It cannot be sold, pledged, mortgaged, transferred, or divided by any husband's debt without written consent of the female heir holding the desk. I had Martin Henson witness it because he was here that week fixing the roof, and because nobody ever suspects a man remembers what he signed when the paper belongs to a woman. Claire stopped reading. A fly bumped against the inside of the window, though it was too cold for flies. She picked up the photocopy. It was a trust amendment notarized by June Bell, witnessed by two people. One witness was Roy Pritchard. The other was Martin Henson. October 14, 1987. Claire could see his signature clearly now. Young, yes, but his. He would have been 22. She would have been 17. They had not started dating yet. She remembered him that year because he drove a blue Camaro with one black door and always smelled like sawdust and spearmint. At the bottom of the page in June's writing was a note. Original filed with county recorder. Copy and register. Copy with attorney Lowell Pike. Copy mailed certified to CH when appropriate. Claire turned over the second photocopy. A certified mail receipt. Addressed to Claire Bell Henson. Postmarked 2002. Signed for by M. Henson. Claire placed the receipt on the counter. Then she went to the back room and found a broom. She swept the office for 23 minutes. Dust moved in gray lines across the floor. A dead moth came loose from under the file cabinet. She swept it into a pile with bottle caps, mouse droppings, and a key tag for room 14, even though there was no room 14 on the property. The ledger stayed open on the counter. The next day, Lottie came back with a man named Earl Ray, who had one good knee and an electrician's license that expired in 2016. "This place will burn down if you plug in coffee," he said. Claire was holding a roll of paper towels and did not know where to put her hands. "I can't pay much." "I didn't ask that." He took the cover off the breaker panel and whistled. Behind him, Lottie wiped the counter with vinegar. The office began to smell less like rot and more like pickles. By noon, a woman in green scrubs pulled in with 2 boxes of legal pads and a phone book. Her name was Denise Alvarez, and she said her mother had stayed in room 8 in July 1987. "I was 9, Denise said. June gave me cereal in a coffee mug." Claire glanced at the ledger. July 19. Room 8, paid by JB Child Needs Shoes. Denise set the boxes down. "My mother kept the shoes," she said. "Wouldn't let anybody throw them away?" Nobody answered that. Earl Ray dropped a screw. It rolled under the desk. A little later, a young woman in a navy suit arrived. She drove a silver compact car with a cracked taillight taped in red plastic. Her name was Andrea Bell, though Claire could not place the relation at first. June's second cousin's granddaughter, maybe. She worked at a legal aid office 2 counties over. "My grandmother said there was a register," Andrea said. "There is." Andrea looked at the blue loon on the counter and washed her hands in the motel bathroom before touching it. The bathroom soap dispenser was empty, so she used dish soap from the kitchenette. It smelled like artificial apple. She turned pages carefully. "This isn't just memory," Andrea said. Claire stood beside her. "What is it?" Andrea tapped the trust copy with one fingernail. "It's notice." Notice of what? That Martin knew. Outside, Earl Ray shouted that something in the wall was not a wire, but a shoelace. Andrea kept reading. "He signed as witness. He signed for your certified copy in 2002. If he claimed in the divorce that he didn't know about restrictions on the motel, that's a problem." Claire looked at the manila envelope from court. It was on the chair now, under the loaf of bread nobody had opened. What kind of problem? Andrea did not answer immediately. She looked at the debt schedule instead. "Who explained these loans to you? Martin? No attorney?" "His banker called once." "When?" Claire tried to remember. It was all kitchen light and wet plates, and Martin saying, "Sign here, just here, this too, no, not that page." "My mother was sick," Claire said. "That year is blurry." Andrea nodded, but not kindly, more like she was marking a place in a book. "Do you have copies?" Claire almost laughed. No. She had signed things she could have asked about. There were years when she hadn't wanted to know. Andrea closed the ledger. "Then we request them." The first week at the Blue Lantern became a week of small noises. Scrapers on glass, plastic tarps snapping in wind, Earl Ray cursing softly inside walls. Lottie's vacuum cleaner banging every doorframe frame like it meant to take revenge. Claire bought bleach, coffee, contractor bags, and a ledger of her own from the Walmart 30 miles away. The cashier put the ledger in a bag with bananas and a shower curtain liner. The receipt said, "Customer, Clara," though Claire had not given her name. She opened 6 rooms first, because 6 was the number of doors with locks that could be made to work. Room 3 needed a new deadbolt. Room 4 needed the carpet pulled. Room 5 still had the smell June had written about, and Earl Ray swore it was not electrical. The extra brass key from June's envelope did not fit the pool gate. It did not fit room 3, the supply closet, the office bathroom, or the rusted cabinet under the coffee machine. Earl Ray tried it on the breaker box and said it was too old for anything useful. Claire almost tossed it into the tobacco tin with the others. Then she saw the words on the index card again. "Don't throw away the wrong key." She taped it beneath the counter where her hand could find it without looking. Then, room 8 had a Bible in the drawer with a Polaroid tucked inside. A little girl with crooked bangs stood beside the pool holding a cereal mug. Denise took that Polaroid home without asking. Claire let her. Emily came on a Sunday with her husband and a casserole in a foil pan. Her husband Ben wore work gloves with the price tag still looped around one wrist. He walked the property making the face people make when they are calculating repairs in someone else's life. Emily stood in the office, looking at the copier Earl Ray had coaxed awake. It made a grinding noise even when turned off. "This place is not a plan," Emily said. Claire was labeling a file drawer, Copies C-lead. "I know, it's a building with mold." "I know." "Mom." Claire peeled the label off and placed it too far to the left. She pressed it flat with her thumb. Emily looked at the blue ledger. "Answers that. What is that?" Claire did not answer at first. She opened the new box of manila envelopes Denise had brought. The glue smell rose sharp and clean. "Your great-aunt kept records." "Of motel guests? Of women?" Emily's face no tightened. "Women like you?" Claire looked toward the window. The sign outside still said blue. "Some worse off." Emily folded her arms. "Dad left you with debt. He left me with what he didn't read." Emily did not ask the next question. She turned and lifted the foil from the casserole. It was tuna. Claire hated tuna. Emily had forgotten. The first woman who came after the little handwritten sign when up arrived on a Thursday evening in March. The sign was taped inside the office window. "Kofi's maid. A variable. Cactus. No questions at the desk." Claire had written it with a black marker that squeaked on the paper. The woman drove a tan minivan with a donut spare on the back wheel. 3 children sat inside. One had no shoes. One held a stuffed dinosaur with a missing head. The smallest slept against the window, mouth open. The woman asked the price of a room. Claire told her. The woman counted bills on the counter. $46.70, including quarters. Room 3 was $60. Claire looked at the register, then at the old blue ledger beside it. "You need a copy made?" The woman's hand closed over the bills. "My license," she said, "and the kids' birth certificates." Claire nodded. The copier warmed slowly, complaining the whole time. The light passed under the glass in a thin white strip. Outside, the children watched through the office window, faces pale in the dusk. Claire made 2 copies of each document, one for the woman. One sealed in an envelope with her name and date, locked in the file drawer. "What do I owe?" Claire slid the bills back across the counter, except for $1. "The room needs a receipt." The woman looked down. "For $1? For the record." Claire wrote emergency hold. Room 3, documents copied in the new ledger, then tore off the receipt and placed it beside the birth certificates. "Keep this with the copies." The woman did not understand. That was all right. Claire gave her the key to room 3. The key tag was new, blue plastic, but the ring was old brass from the tobacco tin. After the minivan door slid shut, Claire stood behind the desk and felt the fluorescent light buzzing in her teeth. She did not cry. She tried to fix the label on the file drawer and tore one corner. Martin arrived 3 weeks later. Padbury. It was bright that day, too bright for early spring, the kind of light that shows every crack in paint and every fingerprint on glass. Claire was outside with Earl Ray, holding the bottom of a ladder while he replaced 2 tubes in the sign. The B and L were lit now. BLU lantern. The E had not come back yet. Martin pulled in driving the truck he had kept in the divorce. Black, washed, tires dressed so shiny they looked wet. A woman's pink sunglasses sat on the dashboard, though the sky was overcast by the time he opened the door. He looked at the motel as if it had been built behind his back. "Busy little project," he said. Claire held the ladder. Earl Ray looked down. "Need something?" Claire asked. Martin smiled with only half his mouth. "You didn't tell the court this place was operational." "It wasn't. It is now. Barely." He walked toward the office. He had always walked into rooms like walls would move for him. Inside, the copier sat on its stand. The phone was on the counter. The blue ledger was not out. Claire had learned that much. The new register lay open. Room 3 was marked occupied. Room 8 had a cash payment clipped to the page with a green paper clip shaped like a frog. Martin noticed the file cabinet. "What are you running here?" "A motel. Looks like charity." Claire moved behind the desk. There was gum stuck under the counter, hard as a pebble. She pressed her fingers against the edge, not touching it. Martin picked up the bell and set it down without ringing it. "My attorney says we need to revisit valuation." Claire looked at him. "You called it worthless." "I said it was distressed." "You laughed. That was personal. This is legal." Earl Ray came in carrying the dead neon tube. He set it in the trash can where it stuck out like a glass bone. Martin glanced at him. "Who's this?" "Electrician," Claire said. "License?" "Used to be," Earl Ray said. Martin looked back at Claire. "You really want to play motel owner?" She did not answer that. He leaned closer. "You don't know paperwork, Claire." The old sentence landed in the room and stayed there. The copier clicked. Nobody had turned it on. Martin looked toward the machine. Claire said, "Then send papers." He stared at her a second longer. He seemed to expect more. An argument, maybe. A tremor in her voice. She reached for the receipt spike and straightened it. The top receipt was for 6 gallons of paint, 2 plungers, 1 pack of batteries, and a birthday card that said, "Happy 40th, son." Claire had bought it by mistake. "Aunt." Martin left without ringing the bell. 2 days later, Andrea called. "He filed," she said. Claire was in room 5, peeling wallpaper behind the bed. The room smelled like damp plaster and old cigarettes. There was a penny stuck to the wall beneath the paper, held by paint. "What did he file?" "Motion to reopen property division. He says you concealed value." Claire sat on the edge of the stripped mattress. It had a flower pattern in colors no flower had ever been. Andrea continued, "He's also challenging whether the motel should offset your debt. Can he do that? He can ask." The hallway outside room 5 was quiet except for Lottie humming "I'll Fly Away" off key. Claire scraped one more strip of wallpaper. Came down in a long wet sheet. "What do we need?" she asked. "Documents. The trust, the certified mail receipt, the register, the divorce disclosure where he claimed no knowledge, and every loan paper you signed." "I don't have the loan papers. We request them from the bank. Will they give them?" Andrea paused. "They may need reminding." Ain. The bank in town had changed names twice since Claire and Martin first opened business accounts. It was First Ozark Community now, with gray carpet, blue chairs, and a fake ficus tree that had dust on every leaf. Claire and Andrea went together. Claire wore her black funeral dress because it was the only thing she owned that felt like court without being court. Andrea wore the navy suit again. The taped taillight on her car had been fixed badly with darker red plastic. The loan officer was a young man named Kyle who kept calling Claire Mrs. Henderson, even after Andrea corrected him. "We'll need authorization," he said. Andrea slid a paper across the desk. "There." Kyle clicked his mouse. His keyboard had crumbs between the keys. "These are old files." "We understand. Some may be archived. We understand. It can take time." Andrea smiled a small smile. "The hearing is set." Kyle stopped clicking. Claire looked past him at a wall calendar. It showed a beach in Florida. The month was April, but the year printed at the bottom was 2024. Someone had crossed out the 4 and written 5. Kyle went to the back room. Claire listened to the printer behind the counter start and stop. Start and stop. Somewhere, a microwave beeped. When Kyle returned, he had a stack of papers and a different face. "There are some irregularities," he said. Andrea did not reach for the stack yet. "What kind?" Kyle swallowed. "A notary stamp on 2 guarantees doesn't match our records." Claire watched a woman at the teller window deposit a jar of coins. The coins slid into the machine with a sound like rain on a tin roof. Kyle continued, "And 1 signature page references an attachment that isn't here." Andrea took the papers. Claire saw her own signature on the first page. It looked like hers, but tired. The C drooped. The H was smaller than usual. The date was September 8, 2016. Her mother had been in Mercy Hospital that week. Claire remembered the vending machine on the third floor because it had given her 2 bags of pretzels when she paid for one. She remembered signing something at the hospital cafeteria while Martin stood beside the coffee machine. Routine, he had said. Andrea placed a finger on the notary line. This notary retired in 2014. Kyle looked at his desk. Claire reached into her purse for a tissue and found the courthouse pen instead. She had carried it for weeks without meaning to. She set it on her knee and smoothed her dress. The hearing was set for May 7. By then, the motel had 8 rooms cleaned, 5 legal aid referrals on the bulletin board, and a working phone with a cord so long it reached halfway across the office. Earl Ray said nobody made cords that long anymore. Lottie said that was because nobody expected women to pace while deciding whether to call somebody. Room 3 stayed empty unless it was needed. On the inside of the office cabinet, Claire taped a list: birth certificate, driver's license, social security card, car title, bank information, protective order, lease, medication list, school records. At the bottom, Denise added in blue ink, clean copy first. Women came and went. Not many. Enough. A cashier from Poplar Bluff copied a custody order and left without taking the coffee Claire offered. A school secretary stayed in room 8 with her elderly mother and asked for extra towels twice, apologizing each time. A woman with a bruised wrist sat in the office for 40 minutes and never used the phone. Claire did not ask. A pen tapping, a purse zipper opening and closing. A breath held while the copier light slid under glass. One afternoon, Emily arrived alone. She did not bring food. She brought a box of printer paper, 10 reams, bright white, 92 brightness, $48. 99 from an office supply store. The receipt had her name printed as Emily. Claire took the box from her. You didn't have to, I know. Carried it into the office. A woman was at the copier, holding a baby on her hip. The baby had one sock on and one sock in its mouth. Claire showed the woman where to place the paper on the glass, how to press the lid down with her wrist, how to keep the original separate from the copy. Emily watched. The woman's hands shook so hard the copy came out crooked. Claire did not mention it. She made another. When the woman left, Emily stood by the counter. The bell sat between them, dented side turned away. I thought he left you with nothing, Emily said. Claire opened the paper box with a key. He almost did. Emily touched the old blue ledger, not opening it. Why didn't you tell me? Claire slid the reams into the cabinet. I didn't know yet. Emily nodded. Then she looked toward the window, where the sign outside now flickered blue lantern for 3 seconds at a time before the E went dark. Ben can fix drywall, she said. Claire smiled at the paper box, not at Emily. He wears new gloves. He'll learn. The day before the hearing, Andrea spread the documents across 2 motel beds pushed together in room 2 because the office counter was too small. The room smelled like lemon cleaner and wet plywood. The bedspreads did not match. One had blue flowers, one had ducks in bonnets. Andrea made piles. Trust documents, register excerpts. Certified mail receipt, divorce disclosure, bank guarantees, notary record mismatch. Claire stood by the window, watching Lottie sweep the walkway. Lottie swept the same spot 3 times because she was listening. Andrea lifted the 2002 certified mail receipt. This is important. He signed for it. Yes, that means he received the copy addressed to you. He could say he forgot. He can say many things. Andrea placed the receipt in a plastic sleeve, but forgetting isn't the same as no knowledge. Claire looked at Martin's old signature. The ink had faded brown. The paper smelled faintly like dust and something smoky, as if it had spent years near a furnace. What happens if the judge believes him? Andrea took off her glasses and cleaned them with the edge of her jacket. We argue again. That was not comfort. Claire appreciated it. Earl Ray knocked on the open door with a screwdriver. Signs fixed, he said. Claire turned. Outside, in the gray evening, the blue lantern sign glowed fully for the first time since she had arrived. Blue lantern. The letters buzzed softly. One corner of the metal frame still leaned. Lottie had stopped sweeping. Across the road, a boy on a bicycle slowed to look and hit a pothole. He did not fall. but he dropped a red baseball cap. Claire watched him get it. Andrea began putting papers into the hearing binder. If stories like this stay with you, subscribe and come back for the next one. There are more hidden records, more locked rooms, and more women finding their names where someone hoped they never would. The courthouse smelled the same as it had in February. Floor wax, wet wool, burnt coffee. Claire sat beside Andrea on a bench outside courtroom B with the binder on her lap. The old register was in a padded document bag at Andrea's feet. Claire had not wanted to bring it. She had wanted to leave it on the motel desk where it belonged. Andrea said evidence belonged where the question was. Martin arrived 7 minutes late. He wore a gray suit Claire had bought him for a funeral in 2019. He had gained weight through the shoulders. His new woman was not with him. His attorney had the trout tie clip again, though this time it was crooked. Martin looked at Claire, then at the binder. "You look tired," he said. Claire opened the binder and checked the first tab, Trust. He sat across the aisle. The hearing was not a trial. There was no jury, no gasping crowd. Just a small courtroom with beige walls, a seal behind the judge, and a clock that was 4 minutes slow. Andrea spoke first. Martin's attorney argued that the motel had been mischaracterized. He said the property had potential value. He said Claire's post-decree improvements suggested she had concealed opportunity. He said fairness required review. The judge listened. A bailiff coughed into his fist. Someone's phone vibrated until it fell silent. Then Andrea stood. She did not tell a grand story. She walked the court through paper, the 1987 Trust Amendment, the restriction on transfer, sale, pledge, mortgage, or division, the county recorder's filing stamp, the register notation from October 14, 1987, Martin Henson's signature as witness, the 2002 certified mail receipt addressed Claire Bells Henson, Martin's signature accepting delivery, the divorce disclosure where Martin had checked nope beside known restrictions, encumbrances, or adverse claims affecting the Blue Lantern Motor Lodge. Andrea placed each document on the table as if she were setting dishes for a meal nobody wanted to eat. Martin's attorney objected twice. The judge overruled once and asked for foundation once. Andrea provided it. Claire watched Martin's hands. He rubbed his left thumb across the place where his wedding ring used to be. He caught himself and stopped. Then Andrea turned to the debt. She did not accuse him of a crime. She did not need to. She showed the bank guarantees, the missing attachment, the notary's stamp dated 2 years after the notary's retirement. The September 8, 2016 signature obtained while Claire's mother was hospitalized, witnessed by a bank employee who no longer worked there. The judge looked at Martin's attorney. "Counsel?" The attorney shuffled papers. The sound was dry and small. He said the issues were beyond the scope of the property motion. Andrea said they went directly to credibility and equitable allocation. The judge leaned back. Claire noticed a crack in the ceiling above the witness stand. It looked like a river on a map. At the end of it, someone had stuck a tiny piece of clear tape, as if tape could hold a courthouse together. Martin whispered to his attorney. The attorney did not whisper back. The judge ruled from the bench. The motion to reopen property division was denied. The Blue Lantern would remain with Claire under the recorded trust restriction. It could not be used as Martin's second chance at a settlement he had already accepted. His request for offset was denied. Then the judge turned to the guarantees. Collection against Claire on the disputed business debt would be stayed pending review. Martin was ordered to produce loan communications, company, records, and every attachment connected to the missing guarantee pages within 30 days. The bank would receive a copy of the order. That was the part Martin looked at. The gavel did not slam. The judge simply set down her pen. The motion was denied. The motel stayed hers. The debt was stayed. Martin had 30 days to produce every document he had kept out of reach. Claire reached for the old courthouse pen in her purse and found a peppermint instead. She unwrapped it slowly. The wrapper crackled too loud. Martin stood first. His face had gone blotchy around the neck. He looked at Claire as if she had betrayed an agreement she had never made. "You think this is over?" Claire put the peppermint on her tongue. Andrea was packing the binder. Martin waited. Claire looked at the trout tie clip on his attorney. It was still crooked. Then she picked up the document bag with the register inside and followed Andrea out. In the hallway, Lottie was standing near the vending machines. She had said she would not come. She had said courts made her stomach sour, but there she was, holding a styrofoam cup of coffee, gone cold enough to wrinkle at the rim. Denise stood beside her in green scrubs, looking at the clock because she was due back at work in 20 minutes. Earl Ray was there too, wearing a button-down shirt with a grease stain near the pocket. He had come to ask whether the courthouse still had a permit office on the first floor. He said that twice. Emily stood a little apart from them. No one clapped. No one seemed sure what kind of face to make. Claire stopped. Lottie looked at the document bag. "Book held up?" Claire nodded. Lottie looked away toward the vending machines. One spiral hook held a package of peanut crackers that had gotten stuck halfway, dangling. Earl Ray slapped the machine once. The crackers fell. Nobody bought them. On the drive back, Andrea talked about next steps: certified order, bank stay, business records, potential sanctions, maybe a referral, maybe negotiated debt reduction. Nothing guaranteed. Claire listened. Outside the window, fields passed under a dull sky. Fence posts, brown grass, a white horse wearing a blanket patterned with pink hearts. A wrong thing in the middle of all that gray. When Andrea dropped her at the motel, the sign was already on. Blue lantern. The E held steady. For 3 days after the hearing, Claire did ordinary things. She changed sheets in room 4. She cleaned hair from a shower drain. She paid the electric bill with a money order. She wrote the court date and result on an index card and placed it in the file marked property. The index card had a recipe for corn pudding printed on the back because Lottie had cut it from an old church set. Emily came with Ben that Saturday. Ben did fix drywall, badly at first, and then better. He kept asking Earl Ray where to stand. Earl Ray told him mostly not there. The women kept coming, not because of the court. They did not know about the court. They came because the sign was lit, because the phone worked, because somebody's cousin had said there was a place on the old highway where no one asked questions at the desk. In June, the Blue Lantern opened room 10. Room 10 had been the worst. Ceiling stained brown, mattress ruined, a dresser drawer full of old matchbooks from restaurants that no longer existed. One matchbook said fine dining since 1993, though the motel had closed before Claire remembered seeing that restaurant. They painted the door blue, not the original blue. That color was impossible to match. This blue was too cheerful. Lottie said it would fade into decency. On the first hot evening of summer, Claire sat behind the office counter with both ledgers open. The 1987 register lay to her left, its cloth cover softened at the corners, pages swollen from years of damp. The new register lay to her right. Claire had written the motel name on the first page in black ink, then hesitated over the line for date because the pen skipped. She crossed out the first attempt and moved down one line. The office smelled like coffee, copier toner, and the honeysuckle growing wild behind room 6. The pool was still empty. It held rainwater at the deep end and one green tennis ball nobody claimed. The bell on the counter had been polished, but the dent remained. At 8:42, a tan minivan turned in from the old highway. Not the same minivan as before. This one had a cracked windshield and a bumper sticker from a school district 2 counties away. The left brake light was out. The engine rattled after it stopped, then coughed once more after the key turned. A young woman stepped out. 3 children stayed inside. The woman came to the office door and paused under the awning. Her hair was pulled back with a rubber band. She carried a purse with both hands, pressed tight against her middle. Claire could see the calculation before the woman spoke. Gas, milk, room, morning. How far? How long? What if? The woman looked at the vacancy sign. It worked now, but only when the office lamp was on. Do you have a room? Claire reached for the key to room 3. The brass ring was warm from the hook. Yes. The woman stepped closer to the counter. Her eyes went to the copier, then the phone, then the file cabinet with its small lock. She noticed the 2 registers. People always noticed the old one, though they never knew why. How much? Claire gave the amount. The woman opened her purse. Inside were diapers, a pill bottle, a comb with missing teeth, and a folded envelope from a school. She counted bills. Not enough. Claire did not look at the money too long. Any documents you need copied? The woman's fingers stopped. After a moment, she pulled out the school envelope. Birth certificates, a custody order, a car insurance card, a handwritten list of phone numbers on the back of a grocery receipt for $22. 17. Claire turned on the copier. It took its time warming. It always did. The old machine clicked and sighed and pulled light under the glass, one white line at a time. Outside, child in the minivan pressed a toy dinosaur against the window. This dinosaur had a head, but no tail. Claire made 2 copies of everything. She placed one set in a clean manila envelope and wrote the woman's name on it exactly as the woman spelled it. She did not correct the unusual middle initial. She did not ask who had written the phone numbers. She sealed the envelope and placed it in the drawer marked copies, Saled. Then she opened the new register and turned it around. Write your name here. The woman looked at the page. What do I owe you? Claire placed the room 3 key beside the register. Not in the woman's hand yet. Write it the way you want it kept. The woman looked at the blank line. My full name? Your full name. The office light hummed overhead. The neon outside buzzed in its metal frame. Somewhere behind the building, a frog began calling from the cracked pool. The woman wrote slowly. Her hand shook less by the last letter. Claire closed the register halfway, not all the way. The ink needed a moment to dry. She watched the woman take the key, gather the children, and cross the lot toward room 3. The youngest dragged a blanket through a puddle. The oldest turned back once to look at the sign. Blue lantern. All the letters held. Claire reached under the counter and found the plastic key tag that said Pool, the one that had opened the office door the first night. It still had a crack through the red letters. She set it between the old register and the new one. On the fresh page, the woman's ink dried slowly beside the date. Outside, the sign held all its letters.